What if I told you that one small Caribbean nation quietly holds one of the most powerful golden passports in the world, and that the smartest investors are rushing to secure it before the rules change again? Because in 2026, St. Kitts and Nevis is no longer just a tropical destination. It's becoming a strategic asset. And if you're a successful entrepreneur, investor, or internationally minded family, this may be one of the most important opportunities you still have access to today. My name is Tatiana, Montin, CEO of Global Freedom Capital, and in this video, I want to explain why the St. Kitts and Nevis Citizenship Program is called a golden passport, why demand is growing rapidly in 2026, and why waiting may become one of the most expensive mistakes globally mobile families make. Now first, why do people call it a golden passport? Because this passport opens doors, not only for travel, but for opportunity, flexibility, security, and optionality. Or the St. Kitts and Nevis passport gives visa-free or visa-on-arrival access to more than 157 countries and territories, including the UK, the Schengen zone, Singapore, Hong Kong, and many of the world's most important financial and business centers. For many people, that means easier travel. But for high net worth individuals, it means much more than that. It means freedom of movement, international diversification, business flexibility, banking flexibility, and a backup plan in a world becoming increasingly unpredictable. And let's be honest, the world feels very different today than it did even 5 years ago. Geopolitical tensions are increasing. Residency pathways are becoming slower and more restrictive. Governments are tightening immigration systems, and many successful families are realizing something important. A single passport is a single point of failure. That's why second citizenship is no longer only for billionaires. Today, entrepreneurs, tech founders, investors, doctors, attorneys, digital business owners, and globally minded families are all looking for ways to create more freedom and security for the future. And St. Kitts and Nevis remains one of the strongest options available. Why? Because this is not a new program trying to prove itself. This is the oldest citizenship by investment program in the world with more than 40 years of history. That matters tremendously because reputation matters in this industry. Longevity matters, international relationships matter, credibility matters, and St. Kitts has spent decades building one of the most respected programs globally. Now let's talk about why 2026 is such an important year. Because the industry is changing rapidly. Governments around the world are increasing scrutiny, programs are becoming more selective, pricing structures are evolving, and many experts believe the golden age of easy global mobility is slowly closing. Every year, we see additional compliance requirements, higher government fees, stricter due diligence, and more geopolitical pressure. And this is exactly why sophisticated investors move early. The people who wait for the perfect moment usually end up paying more, waiting longer, or losing access completely. I've seen it happen again and again. At Global Freedom Capital, we work with clients from around the world on citizenship and residency strategy, and one sentence I hear constantly is, "I wish I had done this sooner." Because freedom becomes exponentially more valuable during uncertainty. Now let me tell you about two real client situations that perfectly explain why people are acting now. Recently, we worked with an American entrepreneur from Miami, successful business owner, international clients, very strong ties to the United States. And he told me something fascinating during our consultation. He said, "Tatiana, I'm not trying to leave America. I'm trying to create options." That's the mindset of sophisticated people. He wanted easier global mobility, more international flexibility for business expansion, and a stronger long-term strategy for his children. For him, St. Kitts was not about escaping anything. It was about building resilience. And after obtaining his second citizenship, he told me he felt something unexpected, peace of mind, because now his family had options no matter what happens globally in the future. Then we had a client from Asia, a technology entrepreneur managing operations across multiple countries. He was constantly dealing with visa applications, embassy appointments, delays, restrictions, and travel uncertainty. But his biggest concern was actually his children. He wanted them to grow up with global access and international opportunity. He told me, I don't want borders deciding my children's future. That stayed with me. And honestly, I hear similar concerns more and more often from globally successful families. This is no longer only about luxury travel. This is about long-term strategic positioning. Now let's talk about how the St. Kitts program works. The process is actually surprisingly straightforward. There are generally two primary investment routes. The first is the Sustainable Island State Contribution option, often called the SISC fund. This starts at approximately $250,000 for a single applicant, although total investment depends on family composition and associated fees. The second route is approved real estate investment. This allows investors to purchase qualifying shares or ownership in approved luxury developments and hospitality projects. Some clients prefer the simplicity of the contribution option. Others prefer holding a real estate asset while also obtaining citizenship. The right structure depends entirely on your goals and long-term strategy. Now here's something extremely important. St. Kitts and Nevis maintains one of the strongest due diligence systems in the Caribbean, and serious investors actually appreciate that, because strong vetting protects the reputation of the passport long-term. The government works with international due diligence firms and conducts extensive background screening before approving applicants. That is one of the reasons this passport continues to maintain strong international credibility, and in most cases, the process can be completed in approximately 4 to 6 months. No language test, no residency requirement, no requirement to relocate, no years of waiting for naturalization. You qualify, you are approved, you receive citizenship for life. And yes, your citizenship can be passed down to future generations. Now let me explain why clients choose Global Freedom Capital specifically. Because citizenship is not just paperwork. This is where many firms get it wrong. At Global Freedom Capital, we focus on strategy first. We help clients understand not only how to obtain citizenship, but how it fits into their overall global life structure. Citizenship, residency, tax exposure, banking access, family planning, business expansion, international mobility. Everything has to work together intelligently. Our clients are entrepreneurs, attorneys, investors, family offices, and internationally mobile families from around the world. And we are extremely selective about the programs and partners we work with. I personally understand the emotional and strategic side of global mobility very well. I originally came to the United States as an international student, later transitioned to a work visa, and eventually became a US permanent resident and then a citizen. Before entering the investment migration industry, I worked with international organizations, including the OSCE and the United Nations system in Vienna. So for me, global mobility has never just been business, it's personal. And that perspective shapes how we advise clients today. At Global Freedom Capital, we believe freedom should be structured strategically, not emotionally, and not impulsively. And the truth is, not every program is right for every client. Sometimes St. Kitts is the perfect fit. Sometimes another citizenship or residency solution makes more sense. But our job is to help you make the smartest long-term decision for yourself and your family. Now, here's what I want you to remember. The world is not becoming simpler. It's becoming more complex. And the people who prepare early will always have more leverage, more flexibility, and more peace of mind later. That's why the St. Kitts and Nevis passport is called a golden passport. Because in a world with increasing uncertainty, mobility itself becomes gold. So if you want to explore whether St. Kitts and Nevis citizenship is the right fit for your situation, your family, or your long-term international strategy, book a private consultation with our team at Global Freedom Capital. The link is in the bio. And if you found this video valuable, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below, and let us know what country or program you would like us to cover next. Because freedom is no longer only about where you live, it's about having the power to choose.